Hey friends, welcome back. We are in the midst of Black Friday holiday shopping season, and so today's video is actually going to be featuring some Perfect Keto products, and I want to highlight that Perfect Keto is having their Black Friday sale right now, which is probably the biggest sale that they offer throughout the entire year. So it's a great time to really stock up if there's things from Perfect Keto that you really love and you know that you're going to be using them throughout the year. This is the time to pick them up at a discounted price. It's one of the buy more, save more sales. So if you buy 2 items, you get 20% off. If you buy 3 items, you get 30% off. 4 items, 35% off. And if you get 5 or more items, you can get 40% off. So that is definitely the way to go if you're able to stock up. They're also doing free shipping for orders over $75 and a free gift for orders over $115. All right, so I will have all of that information down in the description below. Now let's get on to the recipe. A little over a year ago, I developed some recipes for cheesecake for Perfect Keto using some of their products, using their different cereals for the crust and then different flavors of collagen or MCT oil powder for like the flavoring in the cheesecake. They are hands down some of my absolute favorite keto dessert recipes that I've ever created. But Perfect Keto has more than just those 3 flavors of MCT oil powder and collagen powder. And there's like so many more options for making other flavors of cheesecake. And so I'm gonna be making another variety of that today. I'm gonna be using the cinnamon toast MCT oil powder. And this recipe does work just as well using the collagen powder as well. So if you have collagen, you don't have to rush out and order the MCT powder. You can totally use the collagen in the same flavor. I'm also going to be doing a little bit of a different variation in size cheesecake. I made some little mini cheesecakes for the video, a little over a year ago, and they're super cute and fun. But what I'm going to do now is probably even easier because you don't even have to pull out a cheesecake pan. I'm going to be using mason jars, these 8-ounce wide mouth mason jars, and they're just going to be mini cheesecakes. And these are super great for portion control, number one, but then also just throwing them in the fridge. All you have to do is put a lid on them after they're completely cooled, throw them in the fridge. They're super easy that way. Also, I'm gonna make it even simpler and easier by making it a crustless cheesecake. So they're just gonna be cheesecake cups, and the way that I'm gonna incorporate something crust-like is really also very simple. This is like the easy version of the cheesecake recipe. I'm gonna use crushed up cereal, just the same as I used for the crust of the other cheesecakes, but I'm just gonna sprinkle it on top at the end. So you still get like the mouthfeel and the delicious flavor of the cinnamon cereal crust, but you don't have to go through the work of like forming it in the cups or anything like that. You could totally do that if you wanted to have the crust on the bottom. But like I said, we're gonna keep it really, really simple today. The first thing I'm gonna do is get my cream cheese into my bowl. And you do wanna have your cream cheese at room temperature. That is like my number 1 tip for making cheesecakes. Otherwise it'll be lumpy and you'll have to over mix the cheesecake in order to get the lumps even somewhat taken care of, and it's just a disaster. So start with room temperature cream cheese. So I've had this sitting out for a couple of hours, and I actually will probably still put it in the microwave for 5 seconds, stir, and then another 5 seconds just to get it not hot, but just stirrable. You want it really, really soft and really easy to stir. Okay, it took about 15 seconds and I stirred it like halfway through, and that is what you want. It almost looks like cream cheese frosting or something. The next thing I'm gonna add is Greek yogurt, and I just happen to have the 0%, but you could use full fat, you could use 2%, you could use really any, you could even use sour cream if you wanna up the fat even more. I am going to add 3 tablespoons or 45 milliliters or grams to my bowl. And I do like to use my scale where I set my container on the scale, zero it out, and then take out as much as I need until it says minus 45, which is what I'm going for. Next, I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of allulose, and that is about 36 grams. Then I'm gonna add my cinnamon toast MCT oil powder. I'm gonna do 2 scoops, and the scoops are about 1.5 tablespoons, I guess. So if you were doing some different kind of MCT oil powder or collagen powder, and you needed to know how much. It'd probably be about 3 tablespoons. A scoop is 12 grams, so I'm gonna be doing 24 grams. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. That's just gonna enhance that cinnamon flavor that's already in the MCT oil powder. I am also gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. I'm gonna get this all mixed up before I add in the egg. That is my second big tip with cheesecake, is don't overmix after you put in the egg. You wanna make sure you've gotten as much mixing done as you need to get done before you put in the egg, and then you just barely stir it enough to get the egg mixed in. I did want to mention that you can make this in like a KitchenAid mixer or with a hand mixer, but I find it just so easy to mix it by hand that's just what I tend to always do. And it also helps you kind of get a feel for if the cream cheese is soft enough. If you're having to work really hard to mix, that means that you didn't start with soft enough cream cheese. Now I'm going to add in my 1 large egg and just mix it up until it's thoroughly mixed. I can smell the cinnamon already. It smells so good. Now I'm gonna get my 4 mason jars just buttered. You can use a cooking spray or anything like that, but sometimes it's fun just to get your hands dirty and butter it yourself. Okay, those are ready to go. I did want to mention that another fun way to make cheesecakes is in these little tiny 4-ounce mason jars. They just make these perfect little teeny tiny cheesecakes. I did them with a different flavor before and they turned out so good. So that's another fun one. You can make 8 of those with this recipe. I'm gonna see how evenly I can get this batter divided between the jars. Okay, I do like to tap these down on the counter to try to release any air bubbles and just to like get the top flat. So I do have an option for cooking these in the oven, but my absolute preferred way to cook cheesecakes is in the Instant Pot. I feel like if they just marketed the Instant Pot as a cheesecake maker, they could still sell tons of them because it does such a fantastic job. So since I'm going to be cooking it in the Instant Pot and there's going to be like steam, I don't want to get lots of condensation on the cheesecake, so I'm just going to cover them with the canning lids. This of course is not canning the cheesecakes, it's just to keep that condensation out. I have 1 to 2 cups of water on the bottom of my Instant Pot, and then I'm just using this silicone sling, but you could use any kind of trivet, like the trivet that came with it works great. And I'm gonna put in my 4 mason jars, and this is an 8-quart pot, so if you have a smaller pot, you can stack the cheesecakes like that if you need to, or you could just cook in batches. Now I'm gonna lock the lid. We're going to do pressure cook on low, and then we are gonna do 10 minutes and start. All right, I let it sit for 5 minutes after it finished cooking to let the pressure release naturally just a little bit, and then release the rest of the pressure. Now I'm gonna try to carefully pull these out and set them on this wire rack, and we'll let them cool. I'm gonna let them cool all the way, probably at least 45 minutes, I'd imagine. And then I will transfer them to the fridge for probably at least 2 to 3 hours. Since they're pretty small, they'll, you know, cool down a lot faster than a bigger cheesecake. But I'm thinking 2 to 3 hours is probably plenty. That's what they look like at this point. Got a little bit of a jiggle still there, just a little. I'm gonna pull these lids off because I don't want the condensation to collect while it cools. The cheesecakes have been chilling for a few hours, And don't they just look super cute? With the buttering of the jar, they kind of pull away from the edges, which is great. All right, there's different ways you can top these. In my original Perfect Keto Cheesecake recipe, I have a sour cream topping, which is fantastic. It's just a combo of sour cream and allulose, and you spread it on top, and it makes the top look nice and flat and beautiful. But this one I decided to do just whipped cream. So I whipped up some cream. I did not sweeten it because I think there's going to be plenty of sweetness in the topping and in the cheesecake, but you can always add sweetener if you'd like, whatever kind of sweetener you prefer. So I'm going to add a dollop of whipped cream, or maybe 2 dollops of whipped cream on here. And then I took my bag of cinnamon cereal, put it in the Vitamix, blended it up so I got some really nice crumbs. And I like the cereal as is, but I almost like the crumbs even more because I will like sprinkle this on my yogurt and, you know, using it like this, it just adds a really nice flavor, really nice touch. So I am just gonna sprinkle some of the crumbs. That's what they look like. Smells so good. Sprinkle some of the cinnamon cereal crumbs on top, and then this will be ready to go. Look at how adorable this little cheesecake is. So, so cute and perfectly portioned. All right, let me go ahead and get a bite here. Oh, cooking cheesecakes in the Instant Pot is like the recipe for getting the most creamy, delicious texture. It's like, you know, when you bake a cheesecake in the oven, sometimes the edges can get overcooked and the middle is perfect. When you cook them in the Instant Pot, they can be perfect all the way through. They don't get those dried out edges, and it is just heaven. These would be perfect for a holiday dessert. Just having a keto option at a holiday dinner would be phenomenal. Let me know if you guys try this recipe, and don't forget to head over to Perfect Keto's website and take advantage of the Black Friday sale if there's anything you've been needing to stock up on. I will have the link down below. Thanks so much for hanging out with me in the kitchen today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll just see you again in the next one.